You're listening to the Laundry Time Podcast. I am Justin Whitaker. So today I wanted to talk about evergreen content. There's a little bit of a conversation going on about how bloggers should produce quality and evergreen content. Your blog posts, your podcasts, your video blog should be able to stand the test of time. And I'm wondering if that's even possible. The concept of evergreen content is that whatever you produce should actually be able to be revisited 3, 4, 10 years down the road and still be relevant. And the fact of the matter is that nothing on the internet is relevant past 5 years. Maybe if it's a text version of Homer's Iliad or something like that, maybe that's still relevant. But the fact of the matter is that we work in ephemeral media. We work in transitory businesses. So looking at it from that standpoint, it doesn't matter if your content is evergreen or not. What matters is the consistency of the posting and the consistent signal that you have insight, that you have some wisdom, and that you're applying it to the problems of the day. That's how you build your authority, and that's how you build a following. I know that if I go back and I look at Paul Graham's essays from, I don't know how far back he goes, but I think, let's just say 2002, 2003. If you go back there and you take a look at some of his essays, there are a couple of evergreen posts. Certainly there was some career advice that he was giving back then, which still is relevant today. But the bulk of it, the venture capital world has changed from that. The world of the internet has changed from that. There wasn't any social media before that. There weren't entrepreneurial ventures that had zero revenue and zero chances of revenue that venture capitalists were funding. The whole market and environment from that point to now is completely different. And every bit of content that you put out there, embedded in that content, there is a piece of your current environment, no matter what it is. For example, will anybody care 10 years down the road if you wrote a series of essays on how to use Google Plus for business? No, nobody's going to care, because Google Plus will have been either just rendered into infrastructure or have disappeared. Google might not be even around in 10 years. There was a time when people thought that Yahoo was unassailable or Alta Vista was unassailable as search engines, way back in the dawn of time. It's certainly possible that Google can disappear too. Something else will come along to replace it. Something else will come along to replace Google+. The evergreen content that you should be shooting for then is business principles or marketing principles or life principles that speak to a reader or to a viewer or to a listener, no matter what the underlying platforms are. But by necessity, because we work in ephemeral media, it's not like we're going to have an internet version of Ulysses pop out. At some point, the server will be shut off, someone will stop paying for it, the traffic's going to go down to nothing, no matter how good of a blogger you are, no matter how much of a following you have now. At some point, unless the Internet Archive actually picks up your blog and puts it in the Wayback Machine, everything will pass. So let's dial back the rhetoric on evergreen content a little bit and get down to the business of helping people, because that's what we're really here for. I'm Justin Whitaker. This is the Laundry Time Podcast. Thanks for listening.